We are going to start by going into assignments, all right, and setting them up for weighting so they do your grade pass back correctly, and we'll be weighting them as so. We will also be going into assignment submission types. We'll be spending, honestly, the bulk of the afternoon will be in assignments, okay? You know, we will be submitting assignments, looking at them from a student view. You will not be able to see Office 365 from a student view, simply because that test student inside of Canvas does not have an Office 365 account, okay? So you would have to go into a actual student account to see that student view of that. Otherwise, we will be doing those types of things. All right, I'm just getting my one window into position here. There we go. All right, here we go. Now I am going to come on in, and we are course level. All right, so if you have logged out, please come back in to your course and come to your dashboard and open up that course. And we are going to be going into assignments. Now, we talked extensively about when we make modules, how assignments should be inside of a module. Let me repeat that again, that best practice. The only reason I come into assignments is for the purpose of what we are about to do, and that is setting up grading, all right? So inside of assignments, I have some groups, all right? Now, let me explain what's going on in here. When you come into assignments, you're going to see imported assignments, all right? Where this came from was the commons, all right? Anytime you import anything from the commons, it is going to show up underneath assignments and under the group imported assignment. So you can see you got your templates here, you've got your quiz template, and then I have an additional assignment template that I imported for a demo for you. So you're going to see that in the imported assignments group from your comments, all right? So that's why you have that. Now, and so you can see an assignment that I made from scratch up here underneath assignments as well. Now, to get our groups started and to kind of organize this, we need to make our official groups, all right? Because we don't have any. So we're going to come up and we're going to hit our plus group. And what this does, it kind of makes like a little file folder, all right? So plus group, and your school, your institution does two groups, daily and test. So I'm going to hit plus group and then say daily and save. And then I'm going to make another group, and that's going to be my test or assessments, however you want to label that, and save. All right. Now, where did they go? They went to the bottom. All right. And I can move this up to the top by 3 dots, move group to the top. And then I'm going to do the same thing with my test group. 3 dots, move group to the top. All right, now I can get to them. And it, you know, whatever you want to come first. If you want daily to come first or test come first, vice versa, what have you. Now, this is what is considered default order. All right, so in your gradebook, you're going to have a filtering option, and it's going to say default order. Your assignments page is your default order. So your assignments are going to show up in whatever order they're in inside your assignments index page. Now, let me say something about assignments. Traditional assignments like essays, etc., are an assignment. So are graded discussions. All right. So graded discussions are going to show up in your assignments page and in your discussions page. All right. Same thing with quizzes. Quizzes, as you can see, are considered an assignment. All right. So quizzes are going to show up in your assignments page and your quizzes index page. All right. So the takeaway from this is anything graded is an assignment. All right. So the assignments page is kind of like the trump card. All right. It's like the ace in the hole. It trumps everything. Everything graded shows up on the assignment, even if it's a graded discussion, even if it's a quiz. All right. So everything shows up here. So for example, this quiz right here, it would be under test, right? If you were to really distribute this to students, all right? This essay I have right there, that might be a daily grade, all right? So that's the way it is eventually going to look, all right? Now that I have my assignment groups, all right, my daily and my test, I can weight them. All right. Now, your daily and your test, your daily is 34% and your tests are 66. So I'm going to come up and add weights to that. Now, next to my plus assignment, I've got my little gray box right here through dots. And I'm going to come down to assignment groups weight. Now I'm going to have to check the box. This way I can give them weights. All right. So I'm going to say my daily are 34% and my tests are 66%. And I can see that my total is adding up to 100 below. Perfect. That means Canvas can calculate this and do grade passback. I have to add up to 100. I'm going to hit save. And there they are. You will be able to see those totals right there on the edges of your groups. All right. So again, you're going to make those two groups. After you do, you're coming over to this gray rectangle. Assignment groups weight, daily 34. Remember, you have to check the little box and test 66 and save. All right. So that's our first hands-on. Now, the #1 support ticket by an extremely large margin are issues with student submissions. All right. So we're going to talk about ways to support students as we go through this. Now, always adding links to this Canvas student guides, video guides is always a best practice. Now, inside of your template, as I jump back in, when I come into the template, this is built in for you, all right? So you're going to see down here where it says technical support, student guide assignments. Honestly, I would leave this. Now, an even better way to do this linking is inside of the guide right here. I'll just go back this way. There is a video guide. And so assignment submissions. Here is a video. So it's not so text heavy. This way, I'm just going to drop this in the chat so you can grab it. This is what I usually link to my student assignments. So always having a video in there, how the student submits this is always a best practice, okay? And we're gonna talk about that as we develop this assignment, all right? Now I'm going to come back on in. And we are going to build an assignment from your template, all right? So I'm going to come in to this assignment. Now, how do I know it's an assignment? It has a paper and a pencil, all right? So I can use this, all right? You can come on down and use any of these weeks that you want to, individual assignment templates, if you want to use that, all right, to design your first assignment. Now, if you like designing from scratch better, the way I was doing it before, remember, you can come up to the top of the module. You can hit that plus and say add assignment, create assignment, and then give it a name, all right? So whatever you want to do there, and just add the item and it's going to show up, all right? So either way, there's no wrong way. All right, if you want to build from scratch or use your template. I am going to come into your template and look at it just a little bit in case you are interested in using this. Now, when I come in and I hit edit, you can see that it's already got these. You've got your rich content editor that we've discussed previously. All right. And you've got your assignment overview. Now let me show you what's been set up for you. Notice when I click on this, guess what? It's a heading. So this has been formatted really well for you. So you can give your overview, you can give your guidelines, and then you've got your technical support down here. And it does go to those student guides, all right? Now, if you wanted to pop that video in, we already talked about how to make a link. So you would just grab that link for that video, all right, and come back up and say external link and paste that in. So that video would be in there from that guide. Now, all of this is just basic RCE, right? So I'm going to come in underneath my assignment overview, and I'm going to give my directions. So I might say something like, after comparing and contrasting these two documents, consider the following questions. Do you agree with the founding fathers? Do they need to make a whole form of government? Write a position paper, okay? Now, some of this needs to go into my guidelines, all right? So remember to have an introduction, at least 3 points, and a conclusion. So I probably want to take that and put it down here in the guidelines. And I might want to make a list with it as well. And I'm going to justify it. There we go. And whatever guidelines I need to remind them of. Okay, so etc. And then I've got my technical support. So just basic directions in here. Now I do suggest, as I did before, putting in video directions, all right, in this overview or in the guidelines, coming in and going up to that video player, upload and record media, all right. You can also put a YouTube video in as part of an assignment. Lots of flexibility here. So again, I always include a video in my assignments with those spoken, with directions, that oral administration, to make sure that I'm addressing any student with accommodations that might need to have oral directions read to them. Canvas is a great place to accommodate those learners who need it. And after a while, this becomes habit. Okay, this is something you don't even think about anymore, putting those spoken directions in. And if you don't want to put a video in, you can always turn your webcam off and say no video and just have an MP3, all right? And just say start recording. Hey guys, I want you to really read directions with this. You have two documents that you need to compare and contrast. And I want you to decide, do you agree with the founding fathers? Now remember who they were. There were Washington, Jefferson, John Adams, all our founding fathers that we talked about. Do you think they really needed a whole new form of government, or could they have taken some of what England had given them? All right. So I want you to cite examples and defend your position based on those examples. So remember, introduction, you're going to have 3 examples and 3 points, and then a conclusion. All right, so I'm going to save that and just drop it in. So they can listen to it over and over and over, whatever they need to do here. And the MP3 drops a lot faster than a video. Now I'm going to come on down. I am done with all my directions. And this is where I start putting in my points, all right? So how many points you would want this assignment to have would place. So I'm just going to say, oh, I don't know. I just put a typical 100 points in here. Now, this is where our assignment groups come into play, all right? So what is this, right? Let me zoom in because I know that's little. Is this a daily grade? Is it a test? What does this count as, all right? So I'm just going to say daily. And then display grades as points, percentage, complete, incomplete, letter grade, GPA, not graded, however you do this calculation, right? I'm just going to keep this as points just for simplicity. And then you do have the option of having this as formative. All right, do not count this assignment towards final grade. If you're really working on writing skills and you just want this as a draft and for them to see their feedback, you can come in and say, do not count this assignment towards final grade, and give them that opportunity just to see the feedback. So this is a nice feature. Now coming on down, submission type. So let's talk about this. These different submission types. No submission, all right? Why would I use the submission type? I would use the submission type if there's nothing to physically hand in. For example, if it was a class project, all right? If you are a biology teacher, science teacher, and you had them making a model of something, all right, and they actually brought it in, that would be no submission. it would make a column, and then you would come in and manually grade it inside of Canvas. All right. So that would make that column, and you would just enter the grades in manually. Online, this is when you want them to submit through Canvas. So your options here are, and I'm going to show you what each one of these looks like in just a minute. Text entry, submitting a website, submitting a recording, annotating on top of a document, or uploading a file. Okay. On paper, if they are physically handing this in to you, like passing it to the front of the row and you take it home to grade, again, this makes a column in the grade book and you would have to manually grade it. All right. External tool. This would be things like your 365 cloud assignment. All right. Also, if you're doing turn it in, if you're doing something where you want to do the plagiarism checker, all right? So that's the options you would have under external tools. More than likely, it's going to be Office 365, all right? That would be how you do that cloud assignment, which I'll show you how to do in just a few minutes, all right? So I am going to focus right this second on online, submitting through Canvas first. Now, I would not do what I'm about to do. I'm just doing it to show you what it looks like. When I give students an online assignment, I give them one or two choices, all right? So either they're going to be doing a media recording or a file upload, okay? I can give them that student choice. Or I can say, all right, well, you've got text entry here or a file upload, up to you. So I would not check all of them. That creates confusion. So what I'm going to do is I am going to check all of them just so you can see what it looks like on the student side, what each choice looks like. Now, student annotation. This is fairly new. It's about 3 months old, perhaps. Student annotation is based on a file that you upload for students to annotate on top of. All right, so I would physically have to come and say upload file. Now, there are some caveats to this. It cannot be done in group work, and it cannot be done in peer reviews, obviously, right? So it would be for individual submission. So I hit upload file, and let's see. Let's say I want to do reading comprehension. All right, so there's that file that I have uploaded. It's a PDF, all right? Now, when you do file uploads, by the way, you can restrict the upload file type. So if you wanted only documents, Word docs, you can say docx. You would have to put in both file extensions. All right. This is an option. It's not a must do. All right. So up to you. Otherwise, don't worry about it. Allowed attempts. Unlimited. This means that they can submit until the cows come home over and over and over. Limited. Now, here's my recommendation. I gave students until Christmas 3 attempts. After Christmas, I would give them 2 attempts, but I would never give less than 2. And the reason why is this technology. It's going to fail. All right. So this way, if it does fail, you're saving yourself heartache and emails and phone calls and text messages. They have an additional attempt. Okay. So I really do suggest not doing less than 2. Now, coming on down, assign to everyone is default in Canvas. I can put a due date in. Let's say the due date's the 20th. Now that is a soft due date. They can still submit after the due date. All right. It will be flagged as late in the grade book if they submit after the due date. If they don't submit at all, it's flagged as missing. If you need a hard due date, what you have to do is come into the box that says until, and you say, okay, it's due the 20th, but I'm going to give you until two more days. After the 22nd, that's it. You can't submit it anymore. So if you do need something like that, that's how you do it. And I suggest it, all right? Because otherwise, sometimes getting grades in is a challenge. Now, if you have an IEP 504, if you need to give student additional time, let's say they're out, they're sick, you can add that student down here. All right. So I'm just going to say, Thomas, there he is. He needs a later due date than the 20th. So I'm going to say his is due the 23rd, and he has until, oh, I don't know, the 28th to submit it. So I can differentiate that, all right, for individuals. And they are only going to see their due date. They are not going to see the original due date. So notice what has happened up here. You see where it says assign to everyone else and to assign to Thomas? He is no longer included in this group. All right. So he is not going to get it twice. Now, once I am done with this, I am going to hit save and publish. And actually, I need to give it a more meaningful title, don't I? There we go. There's my position paper assignment. I have my overview. I have my guidelines, my technical support down here. How many points there are, how they're submitting, and how many attempts I'm allowing. Notice on my due date that I've got the 20th for everyone else except for Thomas. All right. So let's see how this looks from the student viewpoint. All right. Now, before I do that, before I forget, you can add a rubric down here. All right. So if you were interested in adding a rubric to an assignment, you would do it not when you're editing the assignment, but after you actually save the assignment. You will see the plus rubric, and you would just select that. And let me see if you have any pre-built rubrics in here. No. All right. So, nope, you don't. You are going to have to build from scratch. All right. So whenever you come in, you just give it a title. So I could give it, I don't know, I'm just going to give it a generic name. And then you can build. All right. So you can come to the description right here. All right. And so I've got my points. I can base this on how many points I need. So I'm just going to say 4. It's going to be 4 points. All right. Notice how it updated right there. And so I can come to my pencil and the criteria, and I can say, oh, let's say grammar. And then come in and then adjust these ratings. So again, I would come in and hit the pencil. Exceeds expectations. whatever you need to say. Now, I'm going to hit my plus, all right, and just adjust it 3 points. Meets expectations. And so on and so forth. I would hit the plus again. And then all right, now, so there's my basic skeleton. Yes, I don't have to recreate the wheel, all right, for the next criteria. All I have to do is hit plus and then duplicate. And just change this. Supporting details, for example. It gives me that basic, it gives me this basic skeleton, and then all I would have to do is come in and hit the pencil to change that, all right? Now, very, very important. I'm going to have to say, use this rubric for assignment grading, or it will not attach to the assignment, all right? It looks like it's attached, but it's not until I say use this assignment for grading, all right? And then I can say create rubric. Now, I do have some other options as well. I can remove points from the rubric, all right? Then I cannot use that for grading. And then freeform comments. It takes away all of those preformed criteria, all right? So food for thought with your options. You also have ranges here, 4 to 3, 3 to 2. If I check that range box, I also have that, it gives me that range. So up to you how you want to do your rubrics. But if you want to use it for grading, you must check that box. That's like red lights flashing important. Now I'm going to say create rubric. Now it's going to give me an error because my assignment is worth 100 points and this rubric is worth 8. All right. My rubric and my assignment are not matching. And that's what it's trying to tell me. All right. If I say change, it's going to change my assignment to 8 points. If I say leave different, obviously it'll leave it different. Okay, so just be aware of that. It is going to give you that little question. And I'm just going to say leave different. All right. So now it is attached to my assignment. I see your question. Can we pre-build rubrics and make available to the teachers? Yes, you can make them in the root or sub-account. level, and then they can move them over. If that were to be the case, how this would work, you don't have any pre-built. I'll delete this. If they wanted to move a rubric over, they would come to find a rubric, and I'm just going to pull from my root. All right, so here's, I'm just going to do oral presentation. They would come in and they would select it and then say, use this rubric. And it's going to come in. Now, again, it looks like it's attached. It is not. All right. They would still have to come up, hit the pencil, and then they have these choices, right? Remove points, etc. But the important one down here, use this rubric for assignment grading. Even if they pull it from the root or sub account, they still have to hit the pencil and say, use this rubric for assignment grading. Oh. And it's because I pulled it from my root instead of yours. That's all right. All right, it played nice. Any other questions about rubrics? All right, so let's look at student view. Now, this is a perfect example of what I was talking about this morning. Notice what it says. This assignment is part of an unpublished module, okay? And it is not available. I published the assignment, but I did not publish the module, okay? So this is something that just be aware. All right, so I've got to come back out to my module and publish the module because I forgot. Here we go. All right, so in student view, they can see due dates, how many points they have, how they're submitting, how many attempts they have, and the availability date. They can see the overview. They can listen to directions if you have put them in. Coming on down, if they needed that video, that technical support for assignments, they have that video in there, and then they can see their rubric as well. Now, when I come in and want to submit, let me reset this. There we go. I can see all the different ways that I can submit. All right. Now, the first thing that you're seeing is student annotation. All right. So student annotation, this is the file that I uploaded, and students have these annotation tools up here that they can mark up any documents. All right. So if I needed to highlight, I could highlight directly on this. I could leave why I highlighted it. I could leave a comment here, etc. I can also type. I can leave text and leave text comments. I can also do strike throughs in different colors. All right. I can also draw. All right. So I can circle things, etc. All right. When on the student annotation, I have different colors at the top. I can also change my line thicknesses. When I come to file upload, I have obviously the ability to upload a file, okay, from my computer. And it's going to just come to my device, and I choose that file if it's on my device. Also, I could do a webcam picture. Text entry. If you give them the text entry box, now I'm going to tell you to grade text entry submission, it's hateful. All right. I would not give an essay and give them text entry as the submission type. If you're doing an essay, definitely file upload. Okay. Or Office 365. The reasons I use text entry with my students, if I need if I'm doing a research project and I need lots of websites that they have vetted for that research project, I can have them copy and paste the websites in here. And the reason why I do it in text entry instead of website URL is because for website URL, you only get to do one. Okay, if I'm asking them for 3 vetted resources, this is where it would be. Okay. If you needed a single website, then of course, by all means, you would just use that one. Media, they have the ability to record, upload media. All right, same as you do. Office 365. Now, again, this is in here twice. And it's wanting to be the second choice every single time. Students would just upload from their OneDrive. Now, students do have to have their own OneDrive to integrate it into Canvas for this to work. So they could upload from their OneDrive, and all the permissions would change as soon as they upload it. Okay. So I am just going to do a simple file upload. And to submit it. And that's it. When students submit, they will get the submitted checkbox. All right. Submission details. When they click on this, they can see what it was that they submitted. If they need to see that rubric again, they can see that rubric. Okay. So that's what it looks like from the student's viewpoint. Now, I am going to recommend to you always look at an assignment from the student viewpoint. All right. It does look different than it does to you as the instructor. So going in and looking at this from student viewpoint, always a best practice. All right. All right. I'm going to go ahead and leave student view. And we are going to talk about cloud assignments a little bit. Now, I cannot show you the student view of a cloud assignment, all right? Because I don't have a student who has an Office 365 account. I can just show you how to create an Office 365 assignment. Now, I would come in, and I do have to do, I'm going to do this from scratch, okay? By the way, while I'm thinking about it, before I do this from scratch, you can duplicate assignments, by the way. All right. So if I needed to duplicate this assignment that I already made, I can just hit the 3 dots and say duplicate. All right. And all my details are in here. Now you're saying, no, why would you want to do that? The reason I would want to do this is if I had a student who needed another form of submission. So for example, if I had given my class a file upload, all right, and I knew a particular student couldn't handle this and they just needed to speak their paper, I could just duplicate the assignment and say media recording and come down and just assign it to that one student. Okay, so that's the reason I would want to duplicate an assignment, for that differentiation inside of a module. Really helpful. All right, now, cloud assignments. When you make the assignment, everything is normal. Okay, you do all the directions, etc., points, whatever you need to do per normal. What is different? You choose your assignment group, daily or test. Just gonna keep it daily. Points, percentage, etc. And you can even make it formative. Where things change is before we did online, right? Well, this time, instead of saying online, I'm going to come down and say external tool. Now, when I say external tool, I have to come to find. Now, Office 365 Cloud is where I'm coming. And this is where you can see it. Now, before I make it, I'm going to show you what actually is going on behind the curtain, so to say. Notice in my OneDrive, I have this little folder called Canvas. All right. When you start making cloud assignments, you're going to have a little folder that says Canvas. And when you click on it, you're going to see all of your courses that you teach. Okay. So I can see all my different courses that I've done cloud assignments through. All right. So just make a little folder. All right. So if I were to come in and look in here, I can see those files and what I've assigned, etc. This works the same way in your students. All right. They are going to see these files inside their OneDrive. All right. So I'm going to go back to Canvas, etc., etc. All right. So I can click on it and see anything that I have done inside of each class. All right. Now, I'm going to come back out. So that's what the hierarchy looks like. That's why I had that little Canvas folder right there. So I've found Office 365. I'm coming into my OneDrive and I am saying whatever it is I want them to annotate on. all right, or submit as an assignment. So I'm going to come in and I'm going to say, all right. And most of these are I'll use that one. And I'm going to attach that file. Now it looks like I should hit cancel. Don't do it. I have to just hit select again. All right, and there's the URL. And that's it. The rest of it is the same. How many attempts, assigning it to everyone, a due date over here. Remember, it is a soft due date and an until date. All right, when they have to have it submitted by. All right, I'm going to hit save and publish. And that's it. When I do it correctly, I can see whatever file it is I put in. All right, it's going to show up to me as the instructor. All right, so there is that. And I know I did it correctly. So that's kind of the acid test. All right, so I'm going to go through that one more time, and then I'm going to give you some hands-on time with it. All right, now if you want to do one from scratch instead of a template, just hit your plus, add assignment, create assignment. I'm just going to call this office. And you would come up and edit. Whatever directions you would need to give them. Points. Assignment group. Now remember, this is where it changes. You're coming down to external tool for your submission type. Find. Office 365 Cloud. And you are going to choose that file. And say attach. Don't hit cancel, hit select. Fill out your attempts. Due date, if you need it, and until date, and save. If you see that document at the bottom, you've done it correctly. Into the gradebook. My test student right here. See how they submitted it? All right, so you can, this test student is for you. You can submit assignments into your gradebook and test things out. All right, so just be aware of how powerful that test student is. All right, student view. And I would honestly come through your course and make sure that you are seeing things from the student's viewpoint. So you have an idea. You can see right now, here's my students' to-do list. I've got my position paper. I've got my school pictures, my office assignment right here. So they will have a to-do list, all right? They will also have it on their calendar. So I can come and see any assignment is on the calendar, all right? So that Office 365 assignment, my position paper, it's on here as well, all right? when I come to the student dash, oh, it's not gonna let me see the student dashboard. So just be aware that you can do that in student view. Make sure you leave student view though, because you can't edit while you're in student view.